biggest trick to vinyl flooring is getting a vinyl cutter. Okay, so what you'll need for installing vinyl flooring. To cut vinyl flooring. So we have some different cuts here. So what I recommend using is, for your square cuts, if you have one, or you can get your hands on one, a vinyl cutter. So this is great for your end cuts. You can use the fence there, square it up, easy, quick. Not a lot of dust, not a lot of mess. So great for your end cuts. So for your rips, I recommend using a table saw. Some guys use a knife and score and snap it. Some vinyl flooring is easier to do that too than others. But I also like to just set the fence to the blade and just run the piece through, and I have a consistent straight cut. So if I do have to grow or shrink the cut, depending on if the wall is out, I can also do that with the table saw. So, and the jigsaw. When you have to make notches, I also recommend using a jigsaw. So you can do your notches. This is what I would recommend for tools while you're cutting vinyl flooring. If you can't get your hands on a vinyl cutter, you can do everything with this and a miter saw to make your square end cuts. And for installing the piece, I recommend just a mallet and a scrap piece as a beading block. Then you of course need a pencil. You can do a lot of measurements without a tape measure, but definitely have a tape measure and a square. So pry bar for when you're up against the wall. So when you get up against the wall, you can pry. I'm going to go over direction of your flooring. There's two ways to start the floor this way. I find it easier to drop the piece in like this. The other way, I would have to go under and drop. So now we just have to pay attention. So you just have to keep in mind and pay attention which way easier to drop this in. So as I was doing the pieces and working down the wall, I would go in like this, drop, and then a simple click tap in. Okay, to demonstrate this, that in first. Right, and then you get this a little closer, and then you're able to just click in, because we're already sliding in that groove there, then you're able to click this in easier. So if it was the other way around, you would have to be getting that tongue underneath that. It's just easier to kind of work this way, like from above, if that makes sense. Also, it's easier to start anywhere where you have to make cuts and work out than it is to finish with those. So that dictated why I started over here. Cutting and measuring for your offcuts. Okay, so if I was to install this piece, it would be going in like this, right? And now what you do is you flip it. Okay. I'm gonna make a pencil mark. When I cut this piece, this mark here will go against the wall. I'm going to use a vinyl cutter. This piece can be a starter piece. This is the piece that I needed. Now this cut in goes up against there. I have my proper fittings on this side. Click it into place. Once you get your first couple rows on, then stack a bunch of boxes, fully weighted boxes, to help hold down the floor. As you're trying to tap and manipulate the piece in, it may shift the floor. So if you put a couple boxes, then there's less chance of the floor sliding. And how do we check if we're straight? How do we check that? Let's check this out. So yeah, I got it set up right on the edge down here. Down here. And then go through the boxes. So in this case, these boxes have 3 different prints to them. So this one with the knots is darker than the rest, kind of sticks out. Then these 2 are almost the same, but lighter. So it just helps to go through the boxes and go through the patterns. This way you can predict, you can kind of place the darker ones and the lighter ones in a group, or so you don't have one really dark piece that just comes out of the box that way. When you're up against the wall, and you can use the pry bar to pinch the piece and the wall at the same time, you know, manipulating it so it clicks in. So you're able to get the pry bar behind and manipulate against the drywall. So the trick to this is to kind of get it into its place there, and then you just apply a little bit of pressure and it should click into place. So yeah, so basically this piece needs to be notched out for there. So easy way, line this up. A full installed piece. This is a full piece, right? Now I just trace my measurement. I can use the edge of that to locate that. Then I can scribe it in. Goes in again there. Right, so just like that. And then that is where it returns to a full piece. So from there to there, draw an angle, jolts up, over, then connect these 2 dots, cut that out, fit it in. And then you get something like this, all scribed out. So, okay, so for a piece like this, to notch it out, cut it out. So I've measured from wall to wall. And with this case, the piece just goes and stays in from this bump out. So you want to make sure if you have a bump out, you extend the full piece through, right? But in this case, it's just wall to wall. So I cut my piece from drywall to drywall, and now I've got it in place. So what I do is I mark where the framing is, and then I measure from finished edge to finished edge, 1.25 inches. So we're going to add a 1/4 inch space, 1.5 inches. Same thing on this side, 1.25 inches. So now I can transfer that 1.5 inches up, what I'm taking out for this piece to slide over and lock into place. So now you can see that I've marked this out, right? So we'll cut those out, and then this piece will slide over, lock in. So pieces like this, become a little tricky, more so we have to maintain straight after this piece. But there's two ways you can do that. You can chalk out reference lines, or you can also kind of listen to your install. So if you make sure that you're obviously square when you're clicked in, and if you're square here, then you should be straight that way in theory. But so that is the biggest challenge, is maintaining straight after this piece, right? But to cut this piece out and mark it out, what I do is, again, just get my piece in place. This is oriented the right way. And then I just make a pencil mark again where the corner beads are, or where the finished drywall is. Giving myself a little bit of space. And then I'm really just interested in the measurement here, because whatever my measurement here is, plus the 1/4 inch, be enough to make sure that that end goes. But we're only taking it out here, right? So I'm really only interested in this measurement. 3 5/8. So I'll take out 3 3/4 there. So now, to maintain straight, we know that this is locked in tight and straight. So in theory, we should have a 90 degrees. If we lock in perfectly and can maintain straight to this. We've got that one piece in, and then as I was saying here, if you click this in, and it's not, it's clicked in properly, it's 90 degrees. So you can see we have to the drywall 6, 6, and 6. So yeah, we're square. But even if we weren't, this would give you, even if this wall wasn't square, this would give you an idea of what you need to rip your piece to.